Hey, I'm Chad. I love vinyl. Today we're going to be going over some Beatle tracks that I missed in my Beatles American releases, the Capitol Records. There are several tracks that were on the British releases, kind of the equivalents of these albums. These are great deep cuts. Some, I think, are as good as some of their more well-known songs. Let's get started on this. I find this stuff really interesting, and I think you will too. Okay, we're going to work our way back and start with Rubber Soul. Drive My Car. Oh man, the Beatles could really do R&B so great, from that opening guitar line to just the groove of the bass and the guitars, that riff. It has held me spellbound from the moment I heard this song. I love playing it. I love hearing it. Love the piano they did, the little piano riff. So using this song to start off the UK version of Rubber Soul really gives that album a different vibe right off the bat compared to the American release of Rubber Soul. I covered a review of the American release of Rubber Soul in another video I did, and that version has a much more acoustic-y, folky vibe right from the get-go. So this song right off the bat makes the UK version of Rubber Soul a different album. Yes, both those versions of the album share similar songs, but I feel like starting with this song sets a totally different vibe in a really good way. Hey, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and comment. These videos are so fun to make. I love talking about the Beatles, but I want to cover some other artists as well. If you want to check out some other videos I've done, there's a playlist in the description. Okay, moving on to the classic Nowhere Man, a great Lennon tune. He's progressing in his songwriting to a more contemplative, thoughtful kind of song, more to a third-person kind of view. Really interesting. I like this song, love the guitar on it, love the production on it, love George's solo. The harmonies are amazing. They said they had a hard time singing it live, I can see why. But just a beautiful, beautiful song by Lennon. Okay, here's Ringo being featured on this album. What Goes On, not a fan of it. Not John and Paul's greatest work by any stretch. They give Ringo something, they gave him something to sing, and that's great. But I just don't think it's a good piece of songwriting. It's got kind of a jaunty feel to it, but it's just not a good song. And I'm not a fan. If I Needed Someone, it's a George song. George is really coming along as a songwriter. Love his riff on this. Harmonies on this are so great by the guys. They did this live as well, and I think it was probably pretty difficult, but what a blend. These guys were really moving along as singers, as arrangers. Moody. George was good at moody. Interesting take on things. It's kind of like, I guess he can kind of take or leave this girl, and he's just letting her know that. George always had an interesting take on songs. I love what he did in his solo career because he's just so unique. He brings a unique approach to songwriting, and this is no exception. Okay, so now we're hopping over to Beatles for Sale. Great album, in my opinion. I think it kind of gets a bad rap sometimes because there are a good bit of covers on it, but I think the Beatles' original songs on it make it still stand up today. It's just a great album. But we're going to look at a cover that they did on it. Kansas City, Hey 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 medley. Good little upbeat song, I think. Not an amazing song, but I think Paul pulls it off really well. It's got a lot of energy. It's just fun. Everybody's just screaming, having a good time. So I give it a thumbs up. Good song. 8 days a week. A huge reason to like Beatles for Sale. They put this out as a single. If you hear it, you'll know why. It's got a great intro. It's just got a great melody, great harmonies, catchy Beatle tune. It's Lennon and McCartney at their best. I love it. Never get tired of it. Words of Love, a great Buddy Holly cover. I think this is another reason Beatles for Sale is great. I always love this song. The guitar on it's awesome. These guys loved Buddy Holly, and they show their affection for his songwriting in this song. Great tune. I only have Words of Love, 4 Words of Love. Every Little Thing, another great Lennon-McCartney song that makes Beatles for Sale, I think, a great early album of theirs, because it is one of those hidden gems that just gets you from that opening guitar line. Lennon and McCartney's vocals just get you also. It's a great, just affectionate song toward a girl. Just a wonderful little song with great production, great arrangement. Love it. I Don't Want to Spoil the Party, I think, is one that doesn't get a lot of love from people. I've loved it ever since I first heard it. I love that acoustic intro. And this kind of has a country, jaunty little bounce to it that I like. If Lennon just sort of pulled this off like in a couple of hours, what an amazing job. You know, he probably did. He probably just threw it together really quick. And here's another great jewel, I think. Maybe some people would think it's filler. I can kind of see that, but I just love the song. It's a great song, kind of a sad song. I love the melancholy of it. Okay, now we're moving on to What You're Doing. This will be the last one we look at for Beatles for Sale. I like this one. I think it's a great song. Paul wrote this. Ringo, with his drums, I think he used a suitcase, I want to say, if I remember right. Great little beat on it. I love the 12-string on it. So I don't have a 12-string Rickenbacker, so I kind of emulated it with my electric and plug-in I have. Love that song. Really catchy. I think it gets you. It's another hidden gem, I think. It's just one of those deep cuts that grabs you and you're like, this is really catchy. Great job, Paul. I love it. We're going to go to their second album in the UK with the Beatles. We're going to talk about the song Please Mr. Postman. I'm not nuts about their version of this song. I prefer the Marvelettes version just because I feel like it's a song that is better from a female perspective. I just see it from that. Maybe that's just because the Marvelettes are the first version I heard of this song. That's my take on it. It's my opinion. The Beatles play great on it, but I just am not a huge fan of this song. Okay, next we're looking at Roll Over Beethoven. The Beatles doing Chuck Berry to a T. They do an incredible job on this. George with the lead riff. He plays it great. He sings the song great. The Beatles backing is awesome. Ringo's drums are just super solid, and they just drive the song so well. You can tell they've just worked up their chops on this song in the Cavern and other places they played before they hit big. And it's a great song. I love it. You Really Got a Hold on Me is a great romantic song. Smokey Robinson probably does the definitive version of this song, but I think coming up in a close second is the Beatles, because I love this version of the song. I love the playing on it. I love John singing. The backup singing with Paul and George is immaculate. Just a great song. I love it. Devil in Her Heart. The Beatles didn't write it, but they cover it so well. They give it to George to do. He does a wonderful job. Paul and John do great backing him up. They're trying to convince him that he shouldn't trust this girl. She's got the devil in her heart. But he is so in love with her, she can do no wrong, and he's just gonna get his heart broken, at the end of the day. So there's like a tragedy to it, because you just know this guy's just gonna find out the truth the hard way. So I think they did great picking this song. They'd probably been playing it for a while, and they pull it off beautifully. Okay, now we're at the end of With the Beatles. They cover the song Money. That's What I Want. Not a big fan of this song, sorry. For me, it's in the same category as Dizzy Miss Lizzy was on Help. I wasn't a fan of that song. I'm not a fan of this song. Skip over it each time. Again, if you like it, that's fine. I don't like the song in general, so I don't like the Beatles version of it, so sorry. We're on the Please Please Me album that came out in 1963. Love Me Do, the Beatles' first official release as a band. Kind of a country western vibe to this song, I think. Not a killer song by any stretch, but an interesting one, and I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Pretty good song. I played Lennon's harmonica part on guitar because I can't play it as good as him on harmonica. He adds such a great little bluesy element to this song. Not their best, but a good song. P.S. I Love You. I feel like it's kind of in the vein of Ask Me Why, which is one of my favorite Beatles songs. This isn't quite as good as that, but I feel like it's in that same vein. Pretty good little tune. That wraps up the UK songs I missed on earlier reviews I did. Even some of these oftentimes thought of as not great Beatles songs. I'm not saying that for all these tracks, but for some of them, you can see that even with Beatles songs you can miss, they're great songs. The Beatles hardly ever missed with a song. It was rare. The Beatles were masters. Okay, so next time I'm kind of sticking with the Beatles, but I'm going solo with McCartney. His 1982, I believe, masterpiece, Tug of War. I first heard this when I was probably 8 or 9 years old and have loved it ever since. I think it's among his best work as a solo artist. So I'm really looking forward to diving into this one. It's a McCartney masterpiece in my opinion. We'll see you then.